Shadow the Hedgehog is one of the most important and influential characters in the Sonic franchise. Despite being introduced over 20 years ago, his popularity and impact on the series has not waned at all. Just look at how many people are excited to see him in the third Sonic movie, or the upcoming Sonic X Shadow Generations. So what the hell happened when they gave him his own game, and why is it so infamous?
Part 1. The Tale of the Second Best Hedgehog.
Heyo, it's time to celebrate! It's the year of Shadow, baby! And you know what that means! It's time for you all to donate to the Jonathan Allen Foundation so I can buy the exact real-life replica of Shadow's Dark Rider motorcycle.
It's a very good cause.
We can get to that later, though. Right now, everyone is feeling a little bit of that Shadow fever, and who can blame them? With so much love for the Blue Fox rival from Sega this year from new merch, the introduction of his long-lost brother, Shadiago, motorcycles, and his own brand new game in Shadow Generations, which so far looks to be one of the most incredible and polished experiences in the history of the Blue Rat. And he's not even in the game. Like, just look at this trailer. These levels, these visuals, these brand new techniques, these... And this hype isn't unwarranted either. Beyond his iconic and striking design that contrasts Sonic's perfectly, Shadow was the first new Sonic character introduced with more layers to his personality and backstory than anyone else, going as far back as his first appearance in Sonic Adventure 2. Before the events of the game, within the confines of a space colony ark built by the governing body only known as GUN, he was created by Dr. Eggman's grandfather, Gerald Robotnik, to be the ultimate life form. An immortal being infused with fantastical abilities, like being that guy, and also teleporting with his chaos control ability. He was created in hopes of being able to help cure Gerald's granddaughter of a chronic illness that didn't allow her to step on our planet without becoming very ill. It must be the same disease that prevents Sonic fans from touching grass. I mean, her name was... emphasis on was, Maria, and her and Shadow became very close friends during their time together on the Ark, basically siblings. However, something happened that caused Gun to act against Gerald and the whole team working on the Ark, leading to them raiding and killing everybody aboard, including the death of Maria herself, with only Shadow and Gerald surviving the incident. This causes Gerald to go mad and is eventually killed by Gun as well, but not before influencing Shadow's mind to act as an instrument of revenge on the planet that wronged him. It's never really explained how he does this, but he just does. Shadow, however, was also apprehended by Gun, but seeing as he is immortal, they couldn't kill him, so they instead chose to trap him in a stasis chamber until 50 years later, where Eggman broke him out and set him free, kicking off the events of Sonic Adventure 2. Shadow initially teams up with Eggman in a plan to take over the planet, but in reality he intended on backstabbing the Doctor to destroy the Earth. However, due to the events of the game, he realizes all Maria actually wished for Shadow to do was to protect the people of the planet, leading him to eventually giving his own life to save the Earth and everyone on it. Yeah, okay, that's quite a bit more backstory than he's blue and he hates bad guys, or he has two tails and was rightfully bullied for it, like the nerd he is. Now, there's nothing wrong with the much more simplistic backstories with our other main characters. In fact, I think Sonic's simplistic backstory and motivation for his actions is the perfect foil to Shadow's much more complicated history, making their dynamic work really well. Now, Shadow was seemingly not actually killed during the events of Sonic Adventure 2, which, I mean, yeah, I could have told you that. He was later found by Rouge in the beginning of Sonic Heroes, where he was trapped in a tube made by Eggman where he apparently also has amnesia. But despite this fact, his first instinct upon waking up is to save Rouge from dangerous gunfire. Trust me, this is important. The rest of Sonic Heroes hardly tackle Shadow's amnesia, however. Most likely due to the game juggling 4 different stories the entire time, and yeah, having so many different stories would be really annoying. Shadow dabs his way through to the end of the game, where he ends up helping out all the other heroes defeat Neo Metal Sonic, just for Rouge to find a bunch of Shadow robots after the battle. Which leads to an interesting question. Is the Shadow in this game truly the one from Adventure 2, or was he killed during that game, and this one just happens to be an android replica of Shadow, or maybe something else entirely? Now, the great news for Shadow is he got his shit figured out by 06, and... Shadow. Oh, okay, fine, I'll talk about the game. So the events of Sonic Heroes lead into today's subject, where Shadow finally got his own game. Oh, okay, so that's why Sonic Heroes left so many breadcrumbs about Shadow, so we can get those answers in this game. Honestly, this seems like it was a pretty perfect plan in hindsight. Shadow had gained so much popularity in Sonic Adventure 2, but despite the fact that game gave Shadow a completed character arc, that doesn't mean he can't go through another, especially with how popular he was. I always appreciated this era of the franchise for actually feeling like each game was part of an ongoing story, rather than being more episodic like the modern games. I don't recall much about this game, but I mean, just look at the cover. Shadow suddenly has guns now, and the tone seems quite a bit darker than previous games. Shadow's always had an edge to him, but not like this before. But this intro sequence, when you first start up the game, is undeniably eye-catching. The CGI still holds up remarkably well for today's standards, despite this game releasing in 2005, but what is actually going on here? Shadow is seemingly on an anger-induced sugar rush against Gun, Eggman, and some weird-looking alien dudes. But whose side is he actually on? Or are they all just kind of being dicks to each other? Either way, this seems like an all-out war, and something like that has never really been done successfully in a Sonic game before, so I'm intrigued. I think it's time to get started. Before I can truly celebrate what's to come in this year of Shadow, let's take a full look back at the time he got his own game.
Part 2. Yep, this game definitely has Shadow in it.
Alright, now I know Shadow has a gun on the cover and opening AMV, but maybe they aren't that tied into the game itself, right? Okay, never mind. Hopping into a new game here, we are greeted with a particularly edgy Shadow mumbling to himself about how the name Shadow the Hedgehog haunts him. Yeah, me too, buddy. Picking up from Sonic Heroes, this lad still doesn't remember anything about himself. I guess Rouge thought it would be a funny prank not to tell him. Until suddenly and conveniently, an alien invasion occurs, which, like, okay. And while this does feel pretty random and sudden, I actually don't mind the idea of an alien invasion in a Sonic game. Eggman can only be the bad guy so many times, you know. What I do have a problem with is Shadow calling the innocence of the city pathetic and completely ignoring the invasion at first, which is like, oh, Shadow's first instinct upon waking up in Sonic Heroes was to save Rouge, so why, when innocents are in danger now, he just doesn't care? Fucking simp. Luckily, and because a game of Shadow just doing nothing probably wouldn't work too well, the leader of the Black Arms, which is the name of the aliens, shows up and gives Shadow a personal reason to get involved. He introduces himself as Black Doom. Like, come on, just write "I'm evil" on your business card, dude, come on. And he tells Shadow that he could explain his past to him if he gives him the Chaos Emeralds. But the good news is that Shadow has thoroughly practiced the concept of stranger danger and doesn't just immediately listen to him.
He says he knows the truth about who I am. Then, like it or not, I have to believe him.
Fucking goddammit. Shadow is now given a personal reason to join the fight, and we are immediately thrown into Westopolis, the first level of the game, and I gotta say, what a damn cool way to start a game. You are practically playing through the opening AMV in this level, with all the explosions and chaos happening in the city, with heroes and villains fighting each other. It's a great set piece for the first level of the game. Westopolis also does a great job introducing players to all the new mechanics as well. Getting into that, what new things does Shadow bring to the table here compared to previous Sonic games? Well, the most obvious one is Shadow's right to the Second Amendment with full-on gunplay, which, while is completely ridiculous and should have never been considered for a Sonic game, at least in its current context, the gunplay actually works pretty well and fits the playstyle of early 3D Sonic in a fun way. Shadow can find weapons laying around in boxes, or he can steal them from his enemies. Weapons come in all shapes and sizes, from standard handguns, laser swords, rocket launchers, the list goes on, and they all vary in usefulness. Generally, however, the heavy fully automatic assault rifles are the best in the game because they are powerful, tend to be easy to find ammo for, and auto-lock onto targets, which rocket launchers do not, making them damn near useless despite being far more powerful. Using guns to take down normal enemies is pretty fun, and can help keep the pace of the game going by running and gunning enemies as you move through the levels. But Shadow's other moves are still just as useful as always. His spin dash can only be used from a standstill, which is annoying, but when you really charge it up, you can give Shadow a great deal of speed and let him make jumps and other skips he otherwise wouldn't be able to, adding a bit of fun tech to the stages if you're looking for it. Shadow's homing attack is as fun as ever as well, and can be used against walls to allow Shadow to wall run, which is quite a bit more polished here compared to the triangle jump from Heroes. This is also the first Sonic game to separate all of the main actions across different buttons, instead of trying to shove everything onto the same one. And this is an absolute godsend. No longer will you accidentally bounce when trying to use the light speed dash, or in this case, take an innocent life.
Spare me!
Shadow also has 2 meters he can build up, both of which lead to different useful effects. Every stage contains enemies from 2 factions, good and evil. Well, if you consider the government to be good anyway. If you defeat evil enemies, Shadow's blue meter will fill up. Fill it to max, and he can use Chaos Control to skip huge chunks of whatever level he's in, which can help get past annoying sections. Defeating enough good guys fills up Shadow's red meter, which gives him access to Chaos Blast, which is a huge explosion attack that Shadow can use multiple times that deals a ton of damage. Both moves have their utility, but filling up either bar and not doing anything is always the best option in my opinion. This is because it makes Shadow completely invincible for a short period, and gives him unlimited ammo as well, which is so incredibly broken it's not even funny. So many enemies and bosses become complete jokes in the face of unlimited bear arms. Honestly, and this is a genuine compliment, Shadow's control and utility in this game is a pretty huge step up compared to the speed characters from Heroes. He still has a bit of slipperiness to him, but I never found it really hindered my movement and overall feels natural. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 still both control a lot better in my opinion, but this isn't bad at all, and playing around with Shadow is simple and engaging, which is what I expect in a Sonic game. Going back to Westopolis, this level does a great job teaching all of these new mechanics to Shadow in a safe environment that is exciting to play through. You'll understand all of the basics of the games by the time you grab the Chaos Emeralds and get to the end. So after doing exactly what Black Doom told Shadow in the first cutscene, to find the Chaos Emeralds, Black Doom shows up again and punishes Shadow for disobeying him and makes him teleport to some random ruin. Okay? Kind of a weird place for the story to go, but Shadow is now in Glyphic Canyon. This level is ugly. Like, really ugly. Like, probably the worst looking 3D level up to this point, and maybe just the ugliest Sonic level in general. It's just brown everywhere, and super basic cues for platforms and asset and layout reuse just all over the place. The level itself is fine, if a bit long for the second level. It has some tighter platforming compared to Westopolis, and has a couple little set pieces here and there with these tornadoes, these rolling logs, these long hallways with debris you have to dodge. All this stuff is fine, it's a little basic and not that difficult to avoid, but it helps give the level some presence. Beyond that, most of this level consists of you just running through hallways and shooting enemies. Grabbing the Chaos Emerald and finishing the level here leads into a cutscene with the President of America. God bless. But wait, oh no, he's a Sonic fan? We're fucking doomed, dude. The President is going on about how they won't surrender to terrorists, yada yada, and his secretary tells him that Gunn was able to push back the,
Black aliens.
in Westopolis, which is strange because a prior cutscene with an angry heterophobic gun commander, we heard that Westopolis was completely destroyed. So, which is it? We're on level 2 and we're already completely contradicting ourselves. Whatever, back to Shadow, and he once again is just randomly teleported to the next level with no explanation. Cool. He apparently is on Prison Island, which is a little less exploded than I remember. Shadow also seems to get a little bit of his memory back here, but nothing is really clear. I guess it's just bits and pieces. Anyway, this level is also just fine. There's nothing super special about it, but it is where we are introduced to vehicles in this game, with these spinny things you need to use to avoid the Nickelodeon gamer goo flowing all over the place. There are other vehicles in this game, most of which aren't super fun to use, and also, for the most part, are completely optional, but hey, you can ride Shadow's motorcycle. How's that fundraiser going, by the way? How do I owe money? Okay, back to the level. Wait, what's going on here? Now, I don't know what's weirder, the fact the Black Arms have somehow been imprisoned at all, I'm pretty sure their invasion just started today, or the fact they are still armed while in these cells. Or should I say, black-armed? The rest of the level is perfectly fine. There's some unique progression with the spinny things and alternate routes here and there. None of it is particularly challenging, however, and it's just kind of whatever, a little mundane. Next up is Sky Troops, and oh, I guess Shadow is just throwing out with Black Doom now. Okay, I mean, what happened to the whole disobeying me in Westopolis, and then Shadow just kind of blatantly ignoring him the past few levels? Well, I guess they really buried the hatchet on that, and now they're just broing out. Cool. This game really does not give a fuck to give any actual context between levels. Shadow just keeps teleporting all over the place for no reason. I cannot tell you anything that's actually happened in the story so far beyond what was told to us in the opening cutscene. Beyond that, Shadow has just been kind of doing his thing. It's very strange. This is when we are introduced to the third main faction in this game, Dr. Eggman, who is only helping save the world because what will he conquer if the Black Arms destroy it? Which makes sense, and is also pretty badass, I'm not gonna lie. And the set dressing of this level being Eggman's air fleet brought back from Sonic Heroes going up against the Black Arms' own fleet is pretty damn awesome in theory. So why the fuck is this level just an asset flip of Glyphic Canyon, but the background is blue this time? Seriously, it reuses basically everything from that level. It's barely even worth talking about, but the main mission of needing to get to Eggman's flagship is a good enough reason to travel through the level at least. I just wish the level itself was more fun and varied from what I literally just did 2 levels ago. On the bright side, however, this is the only level in the game thus far with a pretty decent set piece. Near the end, Shadow flies on this little alien dude Star Fox style through a raging storm. The actual gameplay here isn't the best thing in the world, but it's cool nonetheless. Getting onto Eggman's ship, Shadow can finally... Where's Eggman's ship? Why is Shadow just randomly teleported to this jungle? I guess that previous mission didn't really matter. Oh my god, is that a whole bunch of low-poly shadows? These are the Shadow androids, and just because Shadow sees them, he now for some reason thinks he too is a robot. So he teams up with another robot, Omega, to hunt down Eggman and learn the truth about himself. This isn't really how I thought they would follow up this plot point from Heroes, but I'm curious to see where they go with this, I suppose. Iron Jungle is another perfectly safe level, just running through, jumping and shooting without a ton of actual platforming. It's getting a little old at this point, but if you're clever enough, you can skip past a couple otherwise mandatory fights against Shadow androids. And thank God you can, because fighting those dudes is like shadow boxing against a shadow that you can't beat. Finishing this stage leads into our first boss fight, and fuck, I have to talk about the boss fights, don't I? Ugh. These bosses make the Deadly Six look like the Shadow of the Colossus boss fights, for Christ's sake. In most Sonic boss fights, the challenge comes from actually getting into a position where you can attack. So you don't normally actually have to attack more than 3 to 8 times with the homing attack generally. This game, if you try to use the homing attack to defeat any boss, it'll probably take around more like 300 to 800 homing attacks to actually win. Hitting a boss is never difficult to do, but you have to hit every boss so many damn times to win. It's exhausting and super boring for a platformer. If you want to actually beat the boss quickly, they all boil down to grabbing a gun, getting ammo, and getting into a position where you can just unload your whole clip into them all at once until they are dead. Dodging, finding good positioning. The boss fights in this game laugh at these things because all you need to do is tank hits and shoot. Take this current boss, for example, the Egg Breaker. Sure, you can use these balloons to get up to the boss and homing attack him, which barely works anyway because they're so fucking slow. But why do that when you can just stay at the edge of the stage and shoot the shit out of it? Every boss also plays a little cutscene when they are at half health, which would infer they are entering some form of second phase pinch mode thing. As far as I could tell, outside of a few exceptions, including this current boss, most of the bosses do not change at all in their second phase, so why the fuck do they play these cutscenes? It is so stupid. Almost as stupid as Shadow blindly believing Eggman's claims that he's the one that built him. But we have no clue if he's lying or not, and Shadow himself also claims he doesn't believe him.
An android? Me? I don't believe you.
Only to start the next level once again thinking he's a fucking robot. Oh my god, dude, make a choice. Jesus, commit. Shadow just gaslights memories into his mind from this point on. Despite having no evidence for this, he convinces himself that he is a robot copy of the real Shadow that died at some point. He also refers to Shadow as the ultimate life form that everyone keeps talking about, when at literally no point in the story has anyone used the term ultimate life form.
Continuity is hard for some people.
Who asked you? Get out of here. What the fuck is this game's story? What are its themes? Things just happen for no rhyme or reason. Imagine if this was your first Sonic game. You'd have absolutely no clue what is going on because there's no context for anything. And oh, whatever. Let's just keep this going. Moving on to the next level, Lava Shelter. Every level besides Westopolis from this point has been pretty boring, but Lava Shelter actually makes up for that. It has a great setting, awesome music, great and fast-paced and varied platforming above dangerous lava with constantly changing environments. If every level was like Lava Shelter, I'd be singing a complete completely different tune here. This is the first level to introduce switching on grind rails, which is also vastly improved from previous games, where in those games the characters would just kinda attempt to whoop onto the adjacent rail, which just straight up didn't work at times. Shadow actually has a unique animation to switch from rails, and it feels great. This feels like a level from Sonic Heroes in the best way possible, and it's a great one to end on. Finishing up here, Shadow and Omega confront Eggman again, where they both want to send him to hell? Oh my god, that's a little dark, dude. Jesus. Yeah, I haven't really mentioned it yet, but Shadow and Co. really like to swear in this game. It feels really out of place for a Sonic game, but it's also pretty damn funny.
I'm going to destroy this damn planet.
So the next boss is a fight against Eggman in this slot machine thingy. This is one of the only somewhat unique bosses in this game, and it's really annoying. Basically, you just run after it and homing attack the slots in hopes of getting something that might benefit Shadow. A different game would be a good benefit. After defeating the boss, Shadow has finally gathered all the Chaos Emeralds, and he is fully convinced that he is a robot. And I guess his programming tells him to karate chop Eggman in the face for no reason, and oh, the credits are rolling. Is that really it? That's the whole game? It was 6 levels long? What happened to Sonic, Black Doom, Gun? Shadow just kind of started ignoring these factions towards the end of the game, and just, what the fuck? What is going on here? He doesn't even fully get his memories back. He just thinks he's a robot, which we're not even sure is true or not. Eggman's fucking definitely gonna lie about that, so what the hell? Thinking back on it, it was a bit strange that characters from both the good guys and bad guys kept trying to tell Shadow to do things in each stage, and those things often involved tasks that didn't involve getting the Chaos Emeralds, which, as far as I'm aware, was the main goal of the game. But now that I'm thinking about it even further, why is it every time that I started a stage, it showed this big screen full of what looked like other stages on branching pathways? Oh my fucking god, this is that Sonic game, isn't it? Helping one faction or the other leads to different stages and different stories, which can be pretty neat, and I guess explains why this story was so fucking shitty. I just spent the whole time ignoring everyone, which kind of in itself is clever, that Shadow failing to acknowledge those around him leads to him teaming up with a soulless machine and thinking he is one as well because he has no one to share his life with. Might not actually be that deep, but it's interesting to think about in what is otherwise a very shitty story. The other stories must be way better. There is also very clearly a final story segment as well, similar to previous Sonic games, so I guess choosing the correct pathway is the way to open that, which is annoying, but whatever, fuck it. Black Doom said he knows about my past, I'm teaming up with him.
Part 3. That's it. You people made me do this.
Back in Westopolis, I'm going to blatantly ignore this weird blue rat from telling me to genocide a bunch of aliens and instead hang out with this definitely not evil starfish to exterminate a pest problem instead. That's how almost every mission in this game works, by the way. You either team up with the good guys or the bad, and depending on whose side you choose will determine which branching path you'll end up on. Missions come in all sorts of different flavors, from finding a certain amount of hidden objects, killing every enemy in a level from one particular faction in cold blood, Shadow's a fucking war criminal, among other things. But this explains why so many levels in the neutral path came off as boring, because you aren't generally just supposed to run through these stages while ignoring the objectives. Each level usually has 3 different objectives, and fulfilling one of those is where the real challenge in this game comes in. Unfortunately, and more often than not, the actual missions here are super pace-breaking and really annoying. Take the evil mission Westopolis, for example. As I alluded to earlier, you need to hunt down and kill every single gun soldier throughout the entire level to succeed, and that's really damn tedious the first time you do it. Instead of blasting through the stage like any other Sonic game, you instead need to tiptoe around the tulips everywhere, finding 35 proverbial needles in this city-sized haystack. And if you miss any, it fucking sucks for you. Go back and hunt them down manually. There's a lot of these enemy elimination missions in this game, and they could have made them so much better with a single, simple change. Just lower the amount of enemies you need to kill while keeping the same amount actually present in the level. This will not only make these missions a lot easier and less frustrating, but it can also make them more fun because routing out which enemies are more efficient to take out could be a fun thing to try to do and learn. But unfortunately, as it is, that is not how this game currently works, and you instead need to scour through all of these mazes for every single one. At the very least, each checkpoint in this game doubles as a teleporter that lets you instantly travel to any other checkpoint you've already passed. but that only barely helps in missions like these. If you missed one enemy, God knows which checkpoint that enemy is near. After annihilating humanity's last hope of stopping these terrorists, Black Doom rewards Shadow by telling him to hack the CIA. Wait, what? Okay, Shadow is casually hacking the CIA now. I was not aware that was in his skill set. He should really update his resume. As silly as the premise of Digital Circuit is, now that I think about it, I actually did the whole cyberspace thing way before Frontiers ever did, which is kind of neat. Getting into it, Digital Circuit has a ton of great platforming as well as a bunch of excellent level gimmicks that keep the player engaged, including the spotlights that drag Shadow in, to these glowing platforms that Shadow needs to either destroy or run along depending on whatever you need at the time, on top of also dodging literal firewalls while it's on rails, which I think is pretty damn funny. This level feels the most complete, and I think that's because both missions just require you to get to the end of the stage by taking one path or the other near the end of the stage, both of which feature fun platforming with no real bullshit objective. I also just really like the aesthetics here. It gives off really retro 80s future vibes, and the music is great. All around, Digital Circuit is the best level in the game so far, and if more missions were like the ones in this stage, this game would be awesome. After successfully hacking the internet and deleting all student loan debt, he's a real Robin Hood, ladies and gentlemen. That's why the people love this guy. We're gonna watch Shadow leave the internet. Oh, look, he actually teleported from the computer he entered. That actually makes sense for once. Good on them for doing the bare minimum. But before Shadow could continue to serve Black Doom, he gets a little distracted by a funny bald man with dark glasses. Bro didn't want to miss his chance seeing Mr. Worldwide. So instead of continuing to help Black Doom, Shadow just follows Eggman to this random-ass cryptic castle, and oh my god, this stage sucks. Playing it normally and getting to the end is fine, and honestly better than most neutral route stages, but the evil mission requires you to help Eggman by lighting 5 lanterns hidden around the stage. Here's why this is a problem. First off, you can only light these lanterns with these specific torch weapons that are all over the stage, but they are super frail. They're so frail, in fact, they make Breath of the Wild's durability look reasonable. The weapons you need to light these lanterns are not always nearby, so you can find yourself in front of a lantern without the means to light it, forcing you to hunt down one of these weapons, which can be incredibly obnoxious. And the lanterns themselves are pretty well hidden, forcing most first-timers to backtrack all throughout the level, which would be fine if the whole place didn't all look the fucking same. Finding all the Chow hanging out by the 4th lantern is freaking adorable, though. Also, now that I'm thinking about it again, all of these lanterns I'm spending all this time lighting are only helping Eggman create a shield to stop the Black Arms from taking over his castle. Aren't I supposed to be helping the Black Arms? I'm on the evil route. Spoilers, but this mission leads into one where Shadow is clearly leading an army of the Black Arms, but Black Doom apparently has no issue with Shadow preventing them from invading this castle. Well, on the subject of missions, the hero mission here requires Shadow to help Amy find Cream and Cheese, who are both somehow lost in the castle. But no matter what path you take, Amy still appears in the boss fight with Shadow, so I guess she just abandons Cream if you choose not to help her, and okay, she'll be fine. After that, we fight the Egg Breaker again. Oh, gross, no, moving on. Next up is Central City. This is where Black Doom reveals a bit of Shadow's past to him that he's definitely not lying about.
So, hey, Shadow, let me tell you something about your past. You fucking despise humanity and everything about them. I'm definitely not projecting right now, and you should keep following my orders.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Central City is the only level in the entire game where you can't just go for a gold ring. Instead, you either have to find to detonate 5 big bombs with Black Doom, or find to detonate 20 small bombs with Knuckles. Okay, so I'm pretty sure throwing 20 grenades instead of launching 5 nukes is only heroic by technicality. Upon second look, it actually seems that you suck up the small bombs with this vacuum gun to prevent them from detonating, which I guess actually makes way more sense than just blowing them up. I've never played the hero mission at this level before, because why the fuck would I start going down this route and then do the hero mission? So that's my bad, but whatever. Moving on. The level itself is fine, if a bit dull. The time limit to detonate the bombs is actually somewhat tight, so trying to hunt them down can be exhilarating in theory, but every part of this level looks so similar to every other part that keeping a mental map of the stage can be a bit tricky. You'll most likely need to replay the level a few times if you plan on doing either mission, honestly. For the evil mission, finding the last 3 bombs is no sweat. The first 2 also wouldn't be an issue if they weren't hidden behind a wall that looked like every other wall in the stage. Once you figure that out, the mission's not that hard, but oh my god, I had to play the stage like 5 times. Once you finish blowing up the whole city, nothing happens to the city and we're just randomly taken to space. Okay. Black Doom gives Shadow more orders that Shadow just follows completely blindly. Like, I get this is the evil route and Shadow's supposed to be teamed up with Black Doom, but he should still have some amount of agency, right? He's just like a lost puppy that really wants to impress his new owner by any means necessary. Just listen to this line read.
Piercing the stars.
That's right.
He sounds completely fucking brain dead here. What the fuck? Moving on to the next level itself, this is the first arc level in the game, and while it has one of the best songs in the entire game, the actual level itself is super boring. You spend most of it just flying on the same Star Fox bird thing from Sky Troops, and you try to destroy some shield generators or whatever. Not much else to say outside of the fact this level super obviously just pulls assets straight from Final Rush and Sonic Adventure 2. Yet this is still one of the better looking stages in the entire game, thus far, despite coming from far weaker hardware. Before Black Doom and Shadow can fully take control of the Ark, however, there is one final brave gun soldier that stands in the way between them. And oh my god, he just fucking sends the dude straight back home. Holy shit! Dude. Every other soldier that you defeat in this game normally just lay in agony, begging for their lives or whatever, but this guy, no, he just died. Shadow just killed that dude. Oh my god. After finally gaining access to the Ark, Black Doom and Shadow use the Eclipse Cannon to destroy all of Central City, which I thought we already did in the last mission. Fucking rated E 10 plot armor. Black Doom tells everyone his life story, and Shadow leads the final assault on humanity's last asylum, the Gun Fortress. The president is somehow surprised that Shadow is helping Black Doom, despite him having been doing so almost the entire game. The actual level begins with Shadow acknowledging that he was born to help mankind, minutes before going in to destroy them, which I guess shows there's still some inner conflict in Shadow's heart even after everything he's done thus far, and you could still choose to side against Black Doom here, even in this last mission. But fuck that, I wanna
Destroy this damn planet.
Gun Fortress is narratively pretty neat as a final level. You really do feel like you are pushing further and further through humanity's last defenses. This is even further explored with these security camera sections. All eyes are on Shadow, and taking him down is their only hope of surviving. Unfortunately, the level itself is just kind of super simple, long, and a bit boring. Just kind of like most levels in this game. It's fine, it's harmless, but it's nothing super special. Mostly straight lines with a lot of stopping to take out enemies with huge health bars. Wrapping up here, we have a different final boss from previously, which is Sonic and this random dude in a robot, alright? It's kind of cool getting to go toe-to-toe with Sonic, but where has Sonic been this whole game? He has done absolutely nothing to stop Shadow until this point. Wouldn't it have made more sense if Sonic was more of like a constant thorn in Shadow and Black Doom's side throughout the whole story? It makes sense, but instead he's just here at the end. I guess bro was taking a nap, I don't know. The boss itself is one of the worst in the entire franchise. Sonic himself is more of a nuisance you need to make use of to actually hit Diablon, who is the real threat here. He has just as much health as every other boss in this game, if not more, which normally is fine, but he also makes use of this really stupid shield that makes him impossible to hit most of the time, making this fight take longer than everyone else's first attempt at Chaos Island pinball. Don't lie, that shit sucked the first time. After what feels like forever, Diablon and Sonic are defeated. Shadow has finally gotten all the Chaos Emeralds, and then he claims he's going to
Destroy this damn planet.
That's it. This story was only slightly better than the neutral route, but only because it actually felt somewhat like the product that was advertised in the opening AMV. But that doesn't mean it still wasn't just as non-cohesive, as incredibly stupid with things just happening for the sake of it. If they had to do this morality system in this game, they really needed to put more time into considering how the actual stories would pan out, because as of right now, things barely connect and feel borderline episodic. Black Doom is also just the fucking worst. I knew he was evil just by looking at him, that much is obvious, but I thought he would at least treat Shadow like an equal or something, but no, he treats him like a pet, and Shadow might as well be one with his complete lack of agency in this story. Outside of when he went to Cryptic Castle, but that had nothing to do with the rest of the story, Shadow just rejoined with Black Doom right after and learned nothing about himself. We still don't know a single thing about Black Doom either, or why he would even know anything about Shadow's past. He just exists. Okay, so far we have seen Shadow as a soulless husk in two different forms. One is a robot, and the other as a devil. I just want to see a good version of this character, but so far, both routes I have taken have shown me the absolute worst. I think it's time to take matters into my own selfish hands. No, I'm not gonna save the world because even though I fucking hate Black Doom, all of the other characters are just as bad, always constantly nagging me to do shit for them. So I'm gonna take the anti-hero path. Shadow's supposed to be an anti-hero after all, so maybe he'll get some agency on this path. Let's see and find out.
Part 4. The importance of self-love. Self-loathing love.
Back in Westopolis, again this time, I unfortunately have to team up with Sonic in one of his most annoying performances yet. I love Jason Griffith as an actor, and his performance as Shadow in this game is acceptable, but holy shit, is Sonic can be really damn obnoxious at times. Now, there is a bit of a popular fan theory that Sonic comes off as annoying in this game because that's how Shadow perceives him, and you know what? I kinda buy that, even if it's not intentional, because I think it's really damn funny. And I do think Shadow and Sonic's banter throughout this whole game is the best part of this game's story. It's nothing stellar, but it can be pretty funny at times. Doing the hero mission in Westopolis involves killing even more aliens than it did soldiers on the evil path. Yay! After once again going through and taking out each enemy, Sonic and Shadow are seemingly teamed up now, which is a nice little change from the norm. But then, even after killing all of his soldiers, Black Doom still shows up and then tells Shadow where the Chaos Emeralds are, which is a bit of a weird thing to do after annihilating his entire army. And may I remind you, in the neutral route, all Shadow did in Westopolis was gather the Chaos Emeralds, which is exactly what Black Doom told him to do in the first cutscene, but he punished him there, but rewards him here? That doesn't make any sense, but oh my god, whatever, I'm gonna stop trying to make sense of this fucking story. Next up is Lethal Highway, where Shadow and Sonic team up to take down a Black Arms tank trying to make its way out of the city. This level on first try could feel nearly impossible going for the hero mission, because the tank has an absurd amount of health that it seems it will always get away from you before you can even make a dent in its shield. That is, until you realize the tank only moves forward when you get to certain parts of the level, so the best strategy is to slowly go through and kill either every Black Arms or gun soldier in the level, whichever one fills your bar up faster, and then find yourself a nice fully automatic weapon, progress and find the tank just waiting for you on a nice long road, and then completely unload on it all at once. I am not joking, this tank stands absolutely no chance in the face of unlimited ammo. It honestly feels a little unbalanced towards the player here, but I guess either the tank's impossible to destroy or it becomes paper, so take your pick. Having to meticulously go down and kill all of these enemies to fill your bars is a little tedious, but the level itself is actually pretty cool. I like that as you progress through the level, the highway actually crumbles in front of you, and if you're not paying attention, you'll be sent to a lower path, but if you're good enough at the game, you can stay on the higher paths despite the crumbling highways, which I think is actually pretty cool. After destroying the tank, Black Doom shows up again and is actually angry at Shadow for disobeying him. Now that's what I'm talking about. His punishment even makes sense too. He sends in his most elite, powerful, terrifying... Who the fuck is this guy? Now don't make fun of him. Despite his looks, he's actually probably the best boss in this game. He's still not that great, but I like his arena where he's constantly kind of running away from you and you need to chase after him and then make use of these little enemy dudes to homing attack to hit his weak spot. It's kind of cool and somewhat feels like a traditional Sonic boss fight, even though he still has the same health problems as every other boss in this game. This would also be a good time to bring up that Chaos Control is a genuinely really useful ability in boss fights. Like I mentioned before, in levels you can use Chaos Control to skip large portions of whatever stage you're in. However, it works a little differently in boss fights as, you know, skipping through the arena probably wouldn't be too super useful. Instead, it actually, similar to Sonic Heroes, stops time completely, allowing you to get a bunch of free easy hits in, which is super helpful, especially against the likes of Black Bull, and is just a cool creative use of the same power in a different context. After wrapping that up, Shadow decides that fighting aliens is kinda boring and decides to head to the same circus that the quill-length debating Sonic fans like to hang out at. Oh, and cue the funny line.
Where's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald?
This is also where we first encounter Tails doing his thing here. Tails wants me to help him crash the economy by hoarding all the wealth of this facility, but why do that when I can tightrope? I actually really like this stage. I'm taking the neutral route here to stay on the anti-hero path, but the hero path ain't too shabby either. You need to collect 400 rings, which could normally be tricky in most levels, but Circus Park features a ton of fun little mini games and challenges that help you get rings fast, which I actually really enjoy, unless you fall off and have to do the whole thing all over again. Oops. But beyond that, this is another fun stage with varied and cool set pieces unique to Sonic. I finally have the fourth Chaos Emerald, which, now that I think about it, why do the Chaos Emeralds keep changing locations based on morality. The 4th Chaos Emerald was secured on Prison Island before, and was also hidden within a creepy castle a different time. Honestly, given how the rest of this game handles its story, I'd be more surprised if the locations of the Chaos Emeralds were consistent. Since I ignored Tails and stayed broke in the last level, Shadow gets to hang out with the brokest ass bitches in the entire Sonic franchise, the Chaotix. And here we find them trying to hack the internet themselves. You know, in the midst of an alien invasion, who's gonna stop you? I can't blame them. Mad Matrix is another cyberspace level like Digital Circuit, but has the potential for some non-linear progression if you decide to take the hero route. Now listen, if SBO needs to hack Google to delete some unflattering pictures, that's his business, but I am not gonna be a part of it. We're gonna go the neutral route. But trying to find the Chaos Emerald while ignoring the hero mission in this level is fucking impossible. You just keep going down different routes and explore these colorful buildings only to be teleported back to this center room with no direction as to which one is the real exit. The hero mission of needing to scour around all over the place looking for SBO's photos almost seems easier and more appealing than finding the Chaos Emerald after how long I spent looking for the fucking thing. After breaking another egg, we jump to the next level, and why am I at Iron Jungle again? Did I fuck up? What? Wait, Google, did I go the wrong route? What's happening? Oh, wait, there's Sonic, thank God. Why is Sonic here now? Where the fuck did he go? Oh, okay, so I guess we're going to the Ark, so I guess that means we're going to... Wait, what? Anyway, they go back to the Ark, and Shadow has a mild PTSD attack from going back to the place he literally died at, but he's fine. Okay. Sonic is a registered therapist. He can help out Shadow.
Looks like the party's getting started. Time to rock and roll.
Okay, that'll be about $30,000 at the door. We'll see you next week, alright, buddy? Wrapping up the therapy session, we move on to Space Gadget, another Ark level, which is automatically better than the Ark, for the sole reason that it's an actual level. It has some neat gravity-changing mechanics and has some sections that let you skip past annoying enemy locks if you're good enough. I like the idea of the hero mission where you have to race against Sonic to get to the Emerald, even if it's just a glorified timer, but we take what we can get in this hellhole of a game. Unfortunately, to stay on the route of the anti-hero, I have to let Sonic beat me, which I guess would keep anyone from wanting to save the world. Fuck that stupid blue rat. So Sonic gets the Chaos Emerald, making this the only route so far where Shadow doesn't get all 7, except never mind, he still gets it anyway. Jesus Christ, they can't even keep the continuity straight within the same level. So before I could think about how stupid this fucking game is, look, it's the heterophobic guy we keep seeing, and he just fucking shot me. What the hell? I told you I didn't hack the fucking internet. That was SBO, okay? No, but for real though, this guy was actually a kid that lived aboard the Ark the same time that Shadow and Maria did 50 years ago, and he accidentally witnessed the birth of Shadow, where we learned that Black Doom helped make Shadow. And for some reason, because of that, he blamed Shadow for the raid on the Ark, even though Gunn, the organization he works for, were the ones that actually raided the Ark. Shadow just was born under circumstances he had no control of, but you know, whatever, this guy's an asshole. This is why the guy has such a hate grudge for Shadow. Literally, no matter what route you take in Westopolis, you always see this cutscene of him commanding Gunn to go after Shadow, even if you do the hero mission. And also, he was the random dude in the robot with Sonic. He's always just, you know, anytime he has an opportunity to kill Shadow, he takes it because he's a fucking asshole like that. But unfortunately for him, Shadow dodges his bullet and hits him with a cool guy pose, sending the nerd straight to his knees. He doesn't know what to do. So Shadow just leaves him there to live with his shame and moves on to the next level. Cosmic Fall. Probably the coolest level dressing for a stage so far. The Black Arms, I guess unable to take over the Ark due to Sonic and Shadow being there, decide to completely destroy the place instead, which is a really good idea on paper, but in practice this level consists of so much waiting for slow-moving falling platforms to rotate into place. This is actually the best example of how powerful the spin dash can be if you utilize it properly, allowing you to jump to a lot of these platforms without needing to wait, which is great game design for a Sonic game, I think. Luckily, both missions for this stage require you to only go to one goal ring or the other. The hero mission is a little further into the level where you need to find the computer room. This is fine and requires you to do some cool wall jumping to get to the computer room, but unfortunately the entire time you have to deal with Vector.
The heck is that? That passageway is floating and spinning! Have you tried going up? Whoa! Where'd that green laser come from? Everything's falling apart! Wow, you're pretty tough! Did you try going down here? Find the computer room! Find the computer room! Shut up!
After we finally manage to find the computer room, Shadow and Vector confront Black Doom once and for all. Holy shit, we're going up against the big bad this time? I bet this fight is going to be fucking awesome. It's the same shit as all the rest, alright, moving on. After we defeat Black Doom and stop him from his stupid bullshit, Shadow once again finally gets all the Chaos Emeralds, and then he's super sad for some reason. What? Shadow now thinks he was a research experiment that went horribly wrong, and now he blames himself for all these horrible things happening, like the gun raid. Thanks a fucking lot, asshole. At least the other two routes, Shadow was confident in his choices, as stupid as they both were, but oh my god. I figured this would be the best route for Shadow, and conversely myself, because he'd do shit for himself, but nope, this was the worst one by far. The story started off somewhat cohesive, but quickly fell into pure nonsense again. Okay, fine. If I want to give Shadow what he wants, maybe the anti-villain path is the right way to go. He'll be an asshole, but he'll be his own independent asshole? Okay, that doesn't really make sense.
Part 5. Let's try that one more time.
So you may have noticed that each route so far, I've gotten to play completely unique levels from each other route besides Westopolis, which despite having to play the game from the beginning each time, this has helped things from feeling too repetitive. Well, not anymore. If I want to take the anti-villain path, then I need to replay at least some of the same levels I've already gone through, which is a huge fucking problem with this game's shitty morality system. People complain all the time about how Sonic Heroes makes you play it 4 different times to get the true ending, but at least in those 4 playthroughs, they all have some differences that make them stand out from one another. But here, no matter how you slice it, you're gonna have to replay the same shit in this game over and over again. Yes, the differing missions mean that you can technically experiment with different paths to get to the end, but when so many of those missions are so annoying, it is so much easier to just keep replaying the same shit because those will naturally go by faster because you already know what to do. Anyway, after doing shit I've already done, we end up at this level is a flashback to the night of the gun raid, which I referred to at the beginning of the video. I think it's pretty funny that Maria follows you throughout the stage like other characters do.
The heal unit is grandfather's greatest invention.
Damn, that's crazy, Maria. You want to say that to my fucking face? So I'm just gonna... Whoops. This stage is fine. It has a lot of cool uses of the triangle jump, but it is a bit long and a little maze-like, but also, wait, who the fuck are these guys? You're telling me that this elite squad of highly trained military men that were sent in to kill the ultimate life form are nothing more than a squad of goons using knives? I wonder how that mission briefing went.
Listen up, soldier. We need you to dispatch the ultimate life form. Here's your equipment for the job.
Shouldn't we just use guns?
That's an order, soldier. Now get in there.
Yeah, let's get him, boys. Oh god, oh god.
Finishing up here, Black Doom successfully convinces Shadow that gun is full of dickheads by making him live through Maria's death again. So back in the present, he tries to tell Shadow to go after the President of America? No. I'm not joking, by the way. One of the missions in Airfleet does involve you trying to destroy the President's plane as he's trying to escape. This stage is actually pretty good, with a decent mix of platforming and action involved. It does a pretty good job of mixing up the environments as well, of going through the hangars and insides of the plane to hopping around on rails and platforms on the outside as well, which is pretty neat. Beyond that, the level just drags on a few minutes beyond what it should because you end up just kind of going through the same set pieces over and over again, and it gets a little tiring. Getting to the end here, Shadow cannot go through offing the President. That's ridiculous! And Black Doom seems to agree, because even though I blatantly, once again, didn't follow his orders, he invites Shadow onto his ship for some tea and crumpets. God, these are the worst fucking crumpets I've ever had. Black Comet is not a good level. It looks kind of cool, but the stage is so long, has an over-reliance on the stupid prison island spinny things, and has some completely bullshit enemy placement. That's genuinely all I have to say. This is by far the worst final level in this game so far. It's so unmemorable and super dull and just goes on for like 10 fucking minutes. It's straight up just the fucking worst. So because of that, I guess I'll go for the hero mission and side against Black Doom, because Black Doom owns this place, and any interior designer that's this shitty deserves to be punished. Now getting to the end of the Black Comet, who do you think is the final boss of this route? You know what? I'll even make a game out of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to everyone's favorite game show. Guess that boss fight at the end of the Shadow the Hedgehog anti-villain route. We're still working on the name.
I can't believe they're already on their 38th season.
Okay, contestants, the rules are simple. In fact, I just told you them. So here's the million-dollar question. Is the boss A, Black Doom? It's literally his ship and Shadow literally just disobeyed him. B, Sonic and Diablon. How did they get there? I have no idea, but you helped try to hunt the president down in the last level. C, something new entirely? An elite member of the Black Arms, perhaps? Or D, the stupidest thing on the planet.
Oh, I don't know. Let me phone a friend.
Bro, what do you want? You always call me over the stupidest of things.
Dude, you're a genius. It's D.
D is correct!
What the fuck?
Why the fuck do you fight Eggman in a custom-built arena for his stupid egg dealer robot on Black Doom's ship? I've barely seen him during this route. He's hardly been a part of the story. They only put him here because they literally had no clue what other boss to put at the end here. Black Doom would have actually made sense. It was his ship and I disobeyed him. Who was in charge of this?
I, and only I, know what is best.
Anyway, Shadow has once again finally gotten all the Chaos Emeralds, yada yada. With them, he declares that no one can tell him what to do. I mean, hell yeah, this is exactly what I wanted.
Oh my god, this is so dumb.
Shadow is finally living for himself like the boss-ass bitch he is.
Seriously, this route was so vague, the ending made the least amount of sense compared to any other.
I'm glad we can really end on a good note for the Hedgehog. Fuck everyone else in this stupid game. Sonic is obnoxious, Eggman is a dirty liar, and Black Doom is just a prick. Yeah, I'm happy with my choice. But wait, the last story still isn't open? But I finally gave Shadow a reason to live for himself. He actually even learned a bit about his past in this route. Isn't that what he wanted this whole time? What did I do wrong? Okay, I need to reflect. These stories have been bad. Like, really bad. Whether Shadow is a robot, a total prick, or full-on emo, he just isn't the same character I remember anymore. How can everyone be so excited to see this guy on the silver screen?
I, and only I, know what is best.
Well, if that was true, he wouldn't keep being such a total asshole.
That's right, I got it.
Fighting only for oneself is worthless. I'm never gonna gain anything from it. Just look at Shadow at the end of Adventure 2 or the beginning of Heroes. He fights and protects those around him because he's a hero. These stories have been so bad because they have been so out of character for him. That must be it. No wonder the last story hasn't opened yet. Okay, just one more playthrough. This time, let's save the world.
Part 6. The Cost of Being a Hero.
Okay, Westopolis again. Honestly, I've gotten pretty good at taking out the enemies here pretty quickly. Yeah, having to replay all these levels over and over again is annoying, but it is also kind of cool seeing how much I've improved in all of them over time, which is pretty standard design philosophy in most Sonic games, even though this game kind of forces it upon you instead of giving you incentive to want to replay the levels yourself, but, you know, take what we can get. Next up is Lethal Highway again, and now that I know the tank strat, this is actually pretty fun. Yeah, we're on a roll here, and now I even get to do the fun hero mission in Circus Park this time. Yeah, take that, economy. Alright, only 3 levels left. Next up is Death Ruins, and oh, now the government wants to tax the rich. This is an okay enough level. It's pretty similar to Prison Island, but without the gamer goo everywhere. In order to complete the hero mission, I do have to hunt down every alien in the stage, but at least I'm used to it at this point. And in this particular stage, the hunting down of the aliens isn't the worst thing in the world. All of the paths in this level where they would be on are all pretty distinct and all lead to pretty different gameplay experiences, so it's fine. It's still kind of boring, but it's far from the worst level in the world. Okay, so far, the Hero Path story has been pretty great and super cohesive, with Shadow teaming up with multiple members of the main cast to help push back Black Doom's forces, which is exactly what I want to see. Alright, next up we got... Wait, why is Shadow back in Iron Jungle again? Did I somehow screw up this route again, too? Or wait, no, never mind, there's Sonic. Okay, so we should be going to Space Gadget. Wait, Space Gadget? No, I shouldn't be going to Space Gadget. Oh, wait, no, never mind, the cutscene is different. Okay, cool.
Almost lost my cool there.
This time, Shadow just happens to find the next emerald on the ship he and Sonic are on, and... Wait, Shadow, no! Ah, just kidding. He takes it like candy from a baby and is then put on a weird drug trip of some form. Right. This next mission is another flashback to 50 years ago on the Ark with a, I guess an unrelated incident to the gun raid. Okay, let's see what Lost Impact is made of. What the hell happened here, man? They were doing so good, too! In order to beat this stage and stay on the true hero route, you need to comb this giant maze to find not 15, not 20, but 30 fucking 5 artificial chaos hidden all over the place, which wouldn't be a problem if this level had more than 4 different types of room layouts just reused all over the place. There are no set pieces, no landmarks, nothing. Everything in this stage looks exactly the same, and it has so many branching pathways that all interconnect between each other. And even besides the hero mission, the level itself is just boring. I kind of like the chill song in this stage because it really kind of fits the vibe of having to comb every square inch of this place. But beyond that, yeah, this stage sucks. It is the worst level in the entire game. Either way, we only have one final level. Let's wrap this up. Before returning to the present, Shadow is finally once again reminded by Maria of what her true wish was: to protect the people of the planet. Back in the present, both Shadow and Sonic board the Black Comet to do just that, in Final Haunt. And holy shit, this level is a huge step up from Black Comet. It's so fast-paced, has awesome heroic music, and makes cool use of this unique weapon to bring blocks out of the wall, which makes for cool, unique progression. Besides Lava Shelter, this is the best final level in the game by a large margin. Alright, after everything we've gone through, every level, every shitty story, we finally made it to him, the source of all of this suffering. If he never showed up, this stupid game never would have happened. It's finally time to defeat Black Doom. It's done. We finally done it. Shadow has, for the last time, finally gotten all the Chaos Emeralds and declares that Black Doom and his army are finished. He is finally, once again, acting like the hero he's always been, which is awesome. Now, this story still wasn't great, but it was by far the best one in the game so far, and Shadow himself just felt like he was the most in character here compared to every other route. And this was beyond just his heroics. He was also kind of cocky and goofy throughout the story as well, which was great to see despite the overall weak writing that is just present throughout this entire game. And the route itself was super fun to go down. Every mission in each level was actually quite a bit of fun to get through. Aside from Lost Impact, which is a huge, obvious black stain on the true hero pathway, but regardless of that, this is clearly the true story of this game, and I'm glad it's the one we ended on. But yeah, we did it. It's finally done. Let's jump into the last story and see what, Now wait a sec, what? I did it. I did the true hero path. Shadow's a hero now. We stopped Black Doom, and beyond that, we have seen literally every other route this game has anyway. This one was bound to be the correct one. Sure, each of the final levels had... I'll go for the hero mission and side against Black Doom. Missions! Oh my fucking god.
Part 7. Why?
I really have to do everything again. I have to play through each route again just to see all of their alternate endings. After everything that I have done, I am essentially only halfway through the game at this point. It's okay, I'm calm, I'm going to my happy place, everything's good, everything's gonna be fine. This is about to be the biggest waste of time in my entire life. I thought Shadow becoming an honest-to-God hero would be the true route of this game, but I guess you have to do all of them to get the full story. This is really dumb, but I've made it this far, so I might as well go all the way. Let's do this. I did it. I can finally finish this fucking game. And after essentially doubling my total playtime, I only have 4 new thoughts about Shadow the Hedgehog. First, the lava shelter evil mission was fucking awesome. You need to find and activate these lava generators around the level, which raises the lava and changes a bunch of different parts of the level design that makes the level feel genuinely unique for my first visit. I wish there were way more missions in this game like this one. Second, there are 10 non-canon endings in this game, and there is not a single one where Eggman manages to convince Shadow to join his side. Not really any point here, but I just find that hilarious. Third, if you take the true hero route but do the evil mission in Final Haunt, Shadow just stabs Sonic in the back. No, not like that, but he decides to put the fate of the world in Black Doom's hands just to fuck with Sonic, and I think that's hilarious. And fourth, earlier I mentioned that at the end of the evil route, Shadow seemed to have conflicting thoughts on whether what he was doing was right. And I guess I misinterpreted what he was saying because upon actually doing the hero mission here, I found out that's total bullshit and that Shadow still wants to take over the world just without Black Doom. Kinda similar to what he did to Sonic in the last point. Seriously though, this whole portion of the game is the definition of padding. I cannot think of a single reason why the devs thought making you do every single thing on this game twice with slightly different endings would be enjoyable for anyone, especially when most of those endings are super half-assed anyway. But despite all of that, I now have unlocked all 10 non-canon endings, which has actually finally opened up the way to the last story. So it's finally time to end this. Hopefully for real this time, please. There cannot be anything else after this, right?
Sorry? Part 8? Give me those. Are we still doing this? I have things to do.
So the first thing I noticed about the last story is that it ignores every other ending. Does that mean it's all non-canon? God, I actually kind of hope that's the case now that I think about it. So what exactly is going on here? It seems like this might follow up the true hero ending with Shadow finally getting all the Chaos Emeralds on the Black Comet, but Black Doom is apparently fine, and then Sonic and all of the other main characters just kind of show up out of nowhere on the Black Comet as well, and this seems to be the first time he and Shadow have seen each other here, so I do not know what this is supposed to be. I guess it's some sort of 11th ending to a journey that we didn't actually get to experience, which is kind of really weird, but just see what's going on here. Black Doom finally explains his evil plan. He explains that he needed the Chaos Emeralds to use Chaos Control to bring the Black Comet down to the Earth. Wait, why couldn't he just land the thing? He says the velocity of it is too weak to penetrate Earth's atmosphere, and I'm not a scientist, but I don't think that's how that works. And regardless, it's been 50 fucking years. You haven't advanced the technology of your ship at all during that time. And oh shit, while I was complaining about that, he used special gas to paralyze everyone. Fuck. Why is this the only time he's used this gas in the entire game? Probably would have been helpful in the 3 times where I killed him, but you know, whatever. Shadow, like the cool guy he is, breaks out of the gas and ignores all of the other characters to pursue Black Doom. Normally I'd complain, but
Stop!
Stop attacking
Hey,
the good
they're
guy!
not hurting anyone.
Stop!
Hey, they're not
Stop
hurting
attacking
anyone.
the good guy!
Stop!
but I understand this decision. It's time to chase down Black Doom, and why does this level look so familiar? This is the same shit as Black Comet or Final Haunt again! Do not tell me I've played through this hellhole 10 times just to play through a slightly different version of a stage I've played 4 fucking times at this point. Ugh, I shouldn't be surprised. The only unique thing this stage does is that there are various points where you need to use Chaos Control to progress, which is just an excuse to make you fight a ton of enemies with huge health bars. That's literally it. Besides that, it's the same exact shit we saw in the other 2 versions of this same level, so I'm not gonna waste any more time. Okay, final level finished, and Black Doom can now suddenly control Shadow? At this point, Black Doom is really giving off some rock, paper, scissors, gun beats all energy here. Dude just keeps pulling bullshit out of his pocket. Luckily for our hero, suddenly, and somewhat randomly, a video from Gerald Robotnik plays for Shadow that explains that the Eclipse Cannon was built to counter the Black Arms, which is great, but Shadow is still controlled by Black Doom. Never mind, he's good now. Okay, genuine compliment time. Despite how ridiculous and over-expository this whole ending is, especially with all of Black Doom's stupid crap, I actually really like Shadow's characterization throughout this whole segment. He's very large and in charge, like you would expect of him, and he really does not give a fuck about Black Doom's bullshit anymore, which I can respect after everything this game has put the guy through. Just a note. Anyway, Back to the ending. Never mind, he's good now, and there goes Black Doom again. Dude, this guy is more slippery than a stick of damn butter. Jesus. Alright, I have had enough of this guy. First, I have to believe him. Then he treats Shadow like a fucking puppy. Has Eggman substitute for him on his own ship when he's bored, I guess. Has literally actually died 3 times at this point and has come up with so many stupid stipulations to try and beat Shadow. And now he thinks he can run? No, I don't think so. Not this time. No, not this time. This dude has caused me and this stupid rat so much annoyance and pain throughout this whole game. At this point, I have essentially gathered 70 Chaos Emeralds. With all of this power, we can finally put an end to his stupid bullshit. Let's do this!
Black
Doom, you're going down!
Behold the ultimate power!
Shadow, I believe in you.
It's now or never! You can do it! Don't you dare give up!
Shadow, it's up to you.
What I said about having created you, it was all a lie. You really are the ultimate life form. Chaos Blast! Hey, nice
Don't
move!
forget to delete those photos, Shadow.
Damn it, I can't die here.
Come on, don't give up.
Fuck his shit up, Shadow.
Chaos Control!
Impossible. I am the supreme being that rules this universe. I am the immortal life form. I am the ultimate power.
After defeating Devil Doom, Shadow uses Chaos Control to teleport the Black Comet in front of the Ark, where he uses the Eclipse Cannon to fucking annihilate them. The game ends with Black Doom being killed, Knuckles taking just as much issue with the shitty Black Comet Eggman fight, and the President apologizing for a guy that tried to nuke the planet. Things are back to the way they're supposed to be. And we end with seeing Shadow officially and finally leaving his past where it belongs. In the fucking trash! In the past. And that, folks, is Shadow the Hedgehog.
Part 9. Finally. I mean, in the end.
After that very long and strenuous journey, we have finally made it to the end. And I think I've made it pretty clear how I feel about this game. Shadow the Hedgehog is one of the absolute worst games in the entire Sonic franchise. Its story is all over the place. Most of it is totally nonsensical, and also most of it, besides the opening cutscene and the last story, are also non-canon, I guess. The gameplay, while solid at times, is super boring and drawn out most other times. The missions really drag down the whole experience, and even if you choose to ignore them, most of the levels are super uninteresting just in general. Looking back, I can say the only levels that I genuinely enjoyed throughout the game are Westopolis, Digital Circuit, Lava Shelter, Circus Park, and Final Haunt. Airfleet, Death Ruins, and Gun Fortress also weren't terrible, but not the best either. They still had some problems. Everything else besides what I just listed were all super boring, super frustrating, or both. There is a way to just play through every level back to back like a traditional Sonic game in expert mode, but the mode is only unlocked after you A-rank every mission and boss fight, which, like, fuck that. This mode shows what Shadow the Hedgehog could have been like as a more traditional Sonic game, but most of the levels are still just long, boring, and unmemorable. The bosses sucked, the characters sucked, Black Doom sucked, blah blah blah. But the worst crime, in my opinion, is how much they completely screwed up Shadow's character in every story route except the true hero one. Now, that may have been the point, but it's still off-putting, and like I said before, I genuinely really like Shadow's character in the last story segment, and that really seems that's where they took the most inspiration for how they handled him in 06, which is where his character peaked, in my opinion. Now, despite this game doing a lot wrong, it didn't hinder Shadow's importance in the franchise at all. He is used time and time again as a special surprise, a marketing tactic, or bait in so many different Sonic projects throughout the years, and it literally always works because fans just love him that much. He is the best character in 06, is host to the best rival battle in the franchise, beats the shit out of Infinite Enforces, was the only good thing about Prime, beats the shit out of Tails and Boom, and is completely taking over the hype in the Generations remaster. And we are gonna see him blow audiences' minds one more time in December. I guarantee it. His game may have been a disaster, but that did absolutely nothing to impact his legacy. I'll see you again soon. Shadow the Hedgehog.
It's been a long, rough road, and I'm finally here. I'm moving an inch forward, feels like a year. Everything I feel seems so unreal. Is it true? Is it true? I'll take one step forward.